Hello, welcome to Fully Charged. Very exciting morning. We're in a Hyundai IONIQ 100% electric car. It's the first time I've driven it. It's genuinely the first time it's moved under my command. Like that. I always like that moment. And we've come to a Hyundai car launch. It's going to be a bit at the moment. There isn't an engine running because this is purely electric, but we're on a cobbled alleyway next to an old Liverpool warehouse in the docks, which is now a really, really posh hotel, the Titanic. So we're launching from the Titanic. Thankfully, we're not in the Titanic because apparently that wasn't such a good journey. We're going on a drive up into North Wales now. Well, actually, because we're in Liverpool, we're going for a drive down to North Wales. I suppose that's probably more accurate. All the other drivers that are using these cars today are professional, proper, really stat-hungry, proper motor journalists, and so you'll probably be able to read some of their reviews in future, which will be really good, really professional. And you can add that to the slightly more casual approach that I produce. So this is an electric car. It has a 28 kilowatt-hour battery pack. This is the pure electric version. There are three versions: the pure electric, the plug-in hybrid, and the hybrid. The electric and the hybrid will be available by the time you see this. They're on sale in this country now. So a 28 kilowatt hour battery though is considerably bigger than the first generation of electric cars that came out, which usually had 22 to 24 kilowatt hour batteries. Nissan Leaf 24, Renault Zoe 22. And so this has a range. What they're telling me, that what they claim is about 140 miles. They're saying, I would say, because what's going on the dash here, it's telling me 131 miles range at present. You know, that because the first generation Leaf, the Leaf that I drive still to this day, had an advertised range of 100. The realistic range was about 90 when it was brand new, 85 realistically in all weathers, 80 in the winter. Whereas this, even if you were driving it in hills, in the rain, in the cold, would clearly have a range well over 100 miles, which is a great. It's extraordinary how much difference that makes. It doesn't sound like a lot. Oh, wait a minute. No. What? Yes! Yes. So it's having a go. This is extraordinary. This is a genuine surprise. So one of the technicians from my Hyundai went through the basics of the car for me. And it's all fairly straightforward. You know, it's got cruise control, it's got sat nav. But then I thought I'd switched on the cruise control, which I think I have, and it started steering itself. I didn't know. They didn't tell me that. I mean, it's kind of keeping it in the lane. It doesn't quite do it. So I'm keeping my hands ready. So we're coming up to a curve. Now it's going. See, that's telling me it's going out of the lane. It's not Tesla autopilot. It doesn't steer round, but it kind of keeps you in the lane, so it's assisting you. It's actually rather a good system. So you have to drive it, you have to steer it, but a lot of the kind of sort of constantly balancing in the lane, it's doing that all the time. It's constantly adjusting itself now. I'm not moving it, but then it goes out. Now it can't see. There's not very good white lines here, so it's a bit lost. But that's a big surprise. I really didn't think. I had no idea. No one told me that. They're keeping that secret. It's probably just as well not to tell journalists who are driving cars for the first time, oh, it'll steer itself, because it doesn't. But the other really good one, and this is, I've already raved about this in the Mercedes, when it has adaptive regenerative braking. So I'm going to go a bit too fast up behind this caravan that's in front of me, and then put regenerative braking on. 1, 2, 3. That is brilliant. It's like I've put the brakes on and I haven't touched the brakes, and I've actually got a bit of juice back in the batteries. I've got to have another go. Well, I've now driven over 50 miles in the car, and I have to say it's grown on me mile by mile. I've really started to appreciate what this car is. This is I think a genuine step up in the world of electric cars. It's doing a lot of stuff that I really didn't expect, like that moment then when it just steered itself around the corner. But one of the impressive things is I think I've done 50 plus miles now, and we've got 86 miles left on the range, and that does seem to be giving a fairly accurate feedback. So what's 50 and 86? 136. But what's really impressive, and the thing that I absolutely love, is the adaptive regenerative braking. And if you watch the 360 episode of this car, which is an experiment to say the least, it was really interesting coming down a really big, proper Welsh hill, long downhill run, never once touched the brakes all the way down to control the speed. I used the regenerative braking steering wheel paddles, and they work really well. They are amazing. But as well as that, because most all electric cars have some regenerative braking. As you slow down, the motor is still spinning and it generates a certain amount of electricity which goes back into the battery. Same as in a hybrid car, they do the same thing. Whereas this one, it feels like you've turned it off. At the moment it's off, and if I take my foot off the throttle, as you can see, we're not particularly slowing down, and now we're going down a slight hill. We're kind of staying at the same speed. No cruise control. This is just going along, and that is amazing. So there's incredibly little friction or drag on the car. It maintains that speed. Still haven't touched the throttle, and we're still going along. We have slowed down, but like 1 or 2 miles an hour. So that is amazing how smooth this car is going through the air, for one thing, and how you can kind of burn and cruise. So you can sort of get it up to speed, and then go off, and it just keeps going. It feels different. It does feel very different. It's very unique. It's a unique IONIQ. So I've learnt a lot more about this car over the delightful lunch in the delightful Hyundai Dome in the middle of a delightful field in the middle of Wales. It's been a very delightful day. So this car is about £24,500 after the government grant, which is, interestingly, £700 cheaper than the Nissan Leaf 30 kilowatt hour battery, which is the new Nissan Leaf. This has a slightly smaller battery with a larger claimed range, so that is still debatable. But it is very interesting to see how these companies like Hyundai, like Nissan, like Renault, like Ford, like BMW, all these companies that make the vast majority of their income from producing fossil burners, but are introducing electric vehicles simply because legislation is forcing them to. That really is the reason, because cities all over the world are saying you can't drive a diesel in this city as of 2020, 2025. They know that the end is nigh for the machinery that they have invested billions in producing, that they produce in vast amounts. You know, if you actually consider how many diesel engines are made every year, it's in the many tens of millions, which gives them the benefit of economies of scale and all that stuff. And why are electric cars more expensive? Because the arguments as to why are getting more and more questionable, you know, because the batteries are getting much cheaper and the actual mechanical engineering in an electric car is much simpler. There's far less parts, there's far less stuff in it. But, you know, why is this one so much more expensive? And is it to do with just the cost of the batteries? No, it isn't, because batteries have got hugely cheaper in that time. In the last 10 years, they've dropped dramatically. So all this stuff is going to change, and clearly within, I'd say, 5 years, electric cars will cost the same as, or they'll be cheaper than petrol cars. But will that price differential be maintained by big companies that make fossil fuel cars? Because if they were to produce, say Hyundai were to produce the electric version of this car £5,000 less than the petrol one, what's going to happen to their petrol market? It's not going to be happy. It's not going to be, you know, they're really in a pickle. And this isn't a criticism of any one individual company, because they're all exactly the same. I mean, the only company at the moment that is producing large amounts of electric cars is Tesla, and they don't make any others. And their cars aren't cheap. I can testify to that from bitter and painful personal experience. So that is a bit of a mystery. But that aside, just forget that for a moment, because this car is amazing. One of the deals they're doing, so it's on sale on the 27th of October, which will be about the time you see this. The first few thousand of them are going to get a free pod point charger fitted in your house, so you can charge your car at home. They're doing a preferential deal with pod point. One of the things that this has got that the Mercedes B250e doesn't have is rapid charging. This has AC rapid charging, 50 kilowatts. So you can charge it on motorways and where there's rapid chargers for, red light, roadworks, regen braking, gorgeous. But yeah, so you can recharge it, 30 minutes will give you 80% of the battery on that, which makes motorway driving very plausible. It reminded me of what the claimed range is, 170 miles. If you could get 170 miles in this car, you would be a genius. But I think a realistic 120, 130 in normal road conditions, normal driving, with hills, with rain, with cold, all those things, this car would do between 120, 130 miles easily. So, that's pretty damn good. And the argument is the cost of an electric car is all up front because running it is much cheaper. All those things are really important, but I don't need to tell fully charged viewers that because you're all highly educated, highly intelligent people. Now, the other great thing about this car is its connectivity. That is really state of the art. So it will do Android Auto and Apple Carplay automatically, and I didn't even know it would do it. And I've got an iPhone because I live in the gated community of exclusive, ultra-liberal, Clinton-esque, Apple elitist people. I have no idea what it's like to live in the real world, etc., etc. Yawn. And I had my iPhone in the car. It was, it was just there. I didn't try and do anything, and suddenly it said, "Do you want to connect to Apple CarPlay?" And I went, "Ooh, how cool is that?" And it just does it like that. You don't have to. I didn't do anything. I didn't download anything or switch anything on. It just knew that it was in range of it. And then the sat nav is actually really good. It's one of the better ones I've seen. Very automatic. So if you're coming up to a junction, it expands. As you're on a long straight road that hasn't got any interesting turns, it goes into a distance. Well, I'm going to be honest with you, I really love the Hyundai IONIQ electric car. If you're in the market to buy an electric car, I think you should definitely have this on your list because it's really, really good. I'm really impressed with the way it drives. The range, I think, is actually much more than I first guessed. I was thinking like 120. I reckon you could genuinely get 150 miles out of this car, which is really impressive. It's a really neat little package. It's a really easy car to drive. It feels really compact, although it feels roomy inside. When you're driving it, you can get it in and out. You're talking to someone who's used to driving a Tesla, which is essentially a container ship on the road. So this is a really neat, tight little car. It's really well made. I'm really impressed with it. And it should definitely be on the list. I mean, the other manufacturers have actually got to jump their game a bit to keep up with this. This is really good. It's cheaper than the Nissan Leaf. And similar or greater range. It's a really impressive entrance into the market. Anyway, that's all we've got time for. Have a quick look at the Patreon link. I'm just saying that casually. And of course, please subscribe to Fully Charged because there's loads more fabulous organic goodness coming your way. And of course, as always, if you have been, thank you for watching.